Fanthorpe, and I'll be your host today. And today I'm hosting the legend Ben Panther here from TikTok once again. And we're going to be diving into TikTok Ads 101. So last week we covered off just a basic introduction and content creation and ways that we can explore advertising our business on TikTok and how to look at some businesses that are doing it really well. And now we're going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into the ads aspect of TikTok, so you guys know what you're doing on the platform and you can get your word about your business out there. So thanks, Ben, so much for joining us here on Digital Boost again.
No, thank you for having me back. And I hope if you tuned in last week, you jumped away with some great creative tips. Today, I really want to, like Anamari says, jump into that ads platform. So let me share my screen and we'll get started as well.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Is that appearing on screen?
Yep, all good.
Perfect. So I think that starts with a big question around it. So last week, if you joined us, it was very much on why TikTok is a platform, Creative 101, and also how the two are linked from or what you do organically on your business account to what you do from an advertising standpoint as well. But if you haven't seen it, jump into the recording and watch that afterwards as well. But today, what I want to jump to is purely around advertising on TikTok. Now, as a business, if you're advertising on those different platforms already, across Facebook, across Google, and those areas, to be honest, this won't be too dissimilar to what you're used to already. And that's kind of done purposely. We want it to be a really easy tool to jump into and set your business up. And so we call it TikTok Ads Manager. And essentially, it's your one-stop shop to manage everything you need to do on the platform as well. So what can you do exactly on Ads Manager? Well, there's a few things. You can drive a range of objectives to your platform or to your website or to your service, whatever you're trying to promote as well. You can reach a very targeted audience, just like you can. You can drive conversion and sales. You have flexible budget and scheduling offers as well. But also the biggest thing is it actually helps you accelerate your brand on TikTok. So if you're looking to kind of dip your toe for the first time in, and we talked about this quite a bit last week as well, what you can do in Ads Manager really helps bolster in what you're doing from an organic level as well. And that's a really clear distinction, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. But I think the number one thing for businesses, and this is the most important thing right now as well, is every dollar you spend is crucial. Where is it going? What is the effect it's making? And does it have an effect on what I'm doing and what I'm trying to promote and do as well? Now, if you're a sales business, if you're a service business, you're starting to sell a product, you need to really know where all of your dollars are going into as well. And that's where measurement, or your foundations almost, is the number one thing you want to do first when you jump into TikTok. So your first step when you sign up for TikTok Ads Manager and you jump on the website as well is very much setting up your pixel. Now, if you've done this on Facebook and Google, it won't be too different as well. You have the pixel set up, you can set up by partners, and there's a range of different benefits on top of this as well. Now, the first one is manual pixel creation. Now, this one is used for certain cases. We have integrations with some partners, which I'll talk about in a second as well. But the manual creation essentially allows you to plug into your different platforms. Let's say we didn't have an integration with a certain web provider at this moment as well. You could still set up the pixel to get up and running on there and just install the code simply as well. There's a full toolkit, there's a video guide, there's everything in our help support team ready to support with this as well. But the first step is really to get your pixel set up so you really know what's happening. But if we jump to the second one, and this is via our partner setup as well, TikTok actually integrates with a range of different partners. So we integrate with Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and also in the future, we're looking to expand to different platforms as well. We also allow for the Google Tag Manager integration. So if you're using that already, you can simply add TikTok to that mix as well. And this is a really easy way to set up your pixels to be up and running as soon as you can as well. So with this, it's pretty much a one-click pixel install across your platforms to get up and going for this as well. So if you jump into Shopify, for example, and jump to the App Store, you'll essentially see TikTok there, and that will connect everything up from your pixel to your Ads Manager account to your up and running as well. The other really cool thing that this does, it actually helps you integrate your catalog. So let's say you're a product-based business as well. You can actually bring all your catalog and all your products into TikTok to be used as placements, which we'll talk about in a second as well. This also allows another layer of advanced tracking as well called advanced matching. Now, one of the hardest things that happened after iOS 14.5 was the effect of that on all of our advertising campaigns. But the number one thing that still remains the most important way and easiest way of tracking is something called advanced matching or email hash and phone hashing. So what this means is with this feature enabled, and you can enable this via your integration with our partners, but you can also enable it on a manual pixel setup as well, is that you can actually match, your pixel could match an action that was taken. So let's say someone checked out on your platform and they use an email. TikTok can actually match that through the pixel with a TikTok account to say, hey, these are the two, and this was a reason this converted from this ad placement as well. Now, it's a really small feature, but it does make a larger benefit as you move further down the funnel as well to explore on TikTok. So we're going to pause there. Foundational thing to TikTok Ads Manager, once you sign up, is make sure your pixel's in place. I would recommend that everyone here, before you set up that first campaign, the number one thing you want to do is make sure you have your pixel in place. That's just fundamental. We need to make sure that everything you do, you know the impact of it as well. That would be the worst case scenario, is setting up a campaign without the tracking mechanisms in place and not knowing the impact it has. Sure, you could see reach, clicks, views, and those things as well. But when you don't know the downstream impact of that, it's really hard to tell, was this the right move or was this the right investment as well for it? Now, the second thing is then, okay, what do you do then? So now you've got your base foundation set up as well. Well, let's jump into campaign 101. Like I mentioned earlier, everything here is really for you in mind. So on here, these are objectives that you're probably used to already. You have reach, you have video views, lead generation, traffic, community interaction, and app and web conversions as well. Now, these are pretty similar to what you're used to. And so as a bridge that started on TikTok for the very first time as well, the number one thing I would say is that you want to start further up the funnel. Now, this is a big thing is, you jump on, you want to run conversions, or you want to get leads immediately, which is absolutely, that's the goal. That's the goal here for us as businesses. We want to drive an objective, if that's through sales, through lead generation, or service businesses, we want to drive that. But what you need to really do first is you need to invest in understanding how your content's working, how your campaigns are working before you move further down that funnel as well. So how would you start right now? Well, the first thing I'd start with is a community interaction, a traffic, or a reach campaign as well. Now, these ones are targeted for really upper funnel objectives to really drive how your brand's taken on TikTok, what are responses like, what's the engagement like as well. Now, the reason you want to do this first is it really starts to test, okay, do I have the right creative? Do I have the right campaign set up for this as well? You want to check off those boxes before you move further down that funnel so you're in the best place possible when you move to a conversion or a lead generation campaign. As we know, these campaigns are typically more expensive because they're driving a specific action. But these upper funnel ones can be done with a lower budget at a lower cost to really test what the platform's working for first. And this would really set you up when you move to that initial phase as well. But how do we set up a campaign objective or a campaign structure? Well, it's very simple. You want to set up your core campaign first. This will be your campaign and your objective that you're wanting to do. So let's say we set up a traffic campaign. You're then going to set up 2 ad groups because you want to test or a split test how your creative or your campaign is performing as well. Now, a big part here is around what do you target? Now, if you joined us last week, we talked around the power of TikTok as a platform and how it natively is built on this interest graph, so it already knows and connects people as well. I would say the same thing can be done for your targeting campaigns. And so, in fact, I would set up 2 different ad groups, one that is broad and then one that is more targeted as well. Now, the reason you do this is because you want to let the machine find out the best group for you, while also using your own predicament to say, hey, how can we then target? What do I think in mind is the best ad group setup? Finally, you want to have multiple ads creatives ready to go as well. Ideally, 4 would be a really good starting point. Now, the reason for this is you want to have creative that's different enough that you can get a better taste of what's working. Now, last week, we talked around all different creative strategies, and the same thing applies here. So let's say you had one video that was simply a music, had songs over top of it as well, and it was a 20-second one. But what about if you had a second one, but then it had a voiceover and it had captions on screen? Did that drive a better action than the first one as well? Now, these are the little things that you want to get into to start testing and seeing what is more effective as well. So on top of this, this is the ideal campaign setup for it as well. Now, the reason I say this is if let's say you did one campaign, one ad group, one ad, you're very limited to see, is this the right performing setup? Is this working in the right way as well? Am I using the right budget? Am I using the right creative? These are the little questions that quickly prop up that helps you think, okay, am I doing the right thing as well? But on top of that, what could you then target? Well, there's a lot. On TikTok, we have demographic targeting. So you can split it by gender, by age, by location, and by language as well. You can also, like we talked about a lot, TikTok is built on interests. And this will be a lot around how you base your targeting off as well. On here, on TikTok, we don't capture that same data as you would on different platforms. Like, let me target people who work in this industry, or let me target people who have this job title and these things as well. We just aren't that platform as that's not really how we're built on as well. But what we're really good at is interests. We know what people are interested in as well. And that's why we promote it so heavily in our targeting capabilities. The third one, and this one is not really used as much. This might be very specific to your business, but is device. So of course, this is a really simple one. You can target what device, if that's iPhone or Android, the connection type, device model, carrier. To be honest, I haven't seen too many people use this one. You have to have a very specific use case for it as well, but it is there if you need it. The last one, and this one's really exciting, this is what we talked about just earlier as well, is smart targeting. Now, we have two options available. You have automatic targeting as well. Now, this allows the system to essentially target the audience it thinks it will find the best performing results from as well. So if you're trying to deliver a service, this would essentially look out and try to define that service for you and find those users. And the second one is targeting recommendations. So based off your industry that you put in when you set up your account as well, the machine will essentially recommend you different interests and behaviors to set up and target as you go about as well. So that kind of covers off our targeting capabilities. And of course, on top of this as well, you have custom audiences and look-alike audiences as well. These are definitely important, but I wouldn't say you'd use them at the start as well. You really think of TikTok as a platform, or if I let me explore this a little bit further as well, any platform as an investment. It's really easy and very eager and tempting to just jump in and run straight to the bottom of the funnel to run these things as well. But I think you have to look at it as like, okay, if we're going to grow our business on here, what does that look like? How do we set up in the right way as well? And that starts with strong foundations. So everything you do from your organic level to how you set up your ad account to how you start your first campaigns, these are building blocks to set you up for the long run as well. And I'd highly recommend you jump in like that approach before jumping straight to the end as well. Now, we've talked a bit around campaign setup and targeting, but what about bidding and budget? We know these drive some of the greatest action and how things perform as well. Well, on TikTok, the setup is pretty simple. You can choose a daily budget or a lifetime budget. And most recently, we've actually rolled out a campaign budget optimization as well. So what this means is how your budget is then spent. Now on TikTok, the minimum budget for Ads Manager is $20 New Zealand a day. There is also another option for $10 a day if you move to the simplified mode. In Ads Manager, you'll be given two options. So you can choose between those two as your minimum for it as well. The reason it is the minimum is that you can see enough impact for that dollar worth as well. So on TikTok, you can choose daily or lifetime. So for the daily budget, this will essentially say, hey, I'm willing to spend $20 every day on this campaign or this ad group, more importantly as well. The lifetime budget, this will be set at the ad group level or the campaign level, say, hey, for the maximum of this campaign, this is what I'm willing to spend. Now, what I would say is the best recommendation is always to go daily budget. The reason for that is that allows the machine to have a much better intake and understanding of how you want this to spend every single day as well. So when you set a lifetime budget, it then has to quickly understand, okay, when do I have to spend in a day? What's the best time as well in all those different things? So the best setup for this is always to go daily budget. That way you're always in control and you know your dollar to dollar spend per day for this campaign or ad group. And second to that, you want to make sure that you always set your budget at the ad group level as well. Now, this is important is because when you set it at a campaign level, you'll always kind of sometimes struggle to see, okay, which one do I prefer to put more budget into as well? I'll contradict that statement by saying a third feature, which is campaign budget optimization, or CBO for short. So when you set up your campaign, you'll see an option for this. Now, what that means, and this is a really smart one, is let's say you have $50 to spend and you have two ad groups. What this will then do at the campaign level is it will watch those two ad groups and it will move the budget to either one for which is performing best. Now, this is a really easy way to have a more hands-off approach and put it more onto the system to learn and perform as well. So you could set up your campaign budget with CBO, campaign budget optimization, and say, hey, I want you to put budget into the most performing one, and it will do that automatically. Another really cool feature. The second thing that comes up a lot when we talk around this is bidding. Now, as TikTok Ads Manager is an auction-based platform, just like the other ones are as well, bidding controls the cost of result. Now, bidding it's a very weird statement sometimes to hear in terms of how does this work as well. But bidding essentially means how much you're willing to pay for a certain result for it. Now, let's say you're trying to bid for a complete payment. You want someone to purchase this product as well. Well, that would be what you're willing to pay in a day. So let's say you have a product that is $20. You might be willing to pay $2 a day for results as well. So you would then want to set a bid cap. But to be honest, this is such a hard thing to do because it's such a competitive landscape sometimes as well. And you have to constantly be involved to make sure you can change and adopt this bidding. The best case, and I'll say this a lot throughout this presentation, is to always let the machine do the lift. The reason for this is we're all busy. We all have things to do as well. And that's why TikTok is set up this way. So this would be called lowest cost bidding. Now, what this means is TikTok is constantly bidding for the lowest cost result possible. It sounds really simple, and it is for that reason as well that we'd always recommend it. And even Ads Manager would recommend it as well. But to essentially allow you to just say, give back to the system and say, hey, if I have a $50 campaign, I want to be able to bid $2 for this. It will always fight for the lowest price for that as well. Then lastly is actually when your campaigns run across TikTok. Now, this one I've heard mixed feelings about and also mixed results. And it's a really interesting one. Essentially, you can set day parting for when you want your campaigns to go live as well. Do you want to set them in midday? Do you want to set them in the afternoon or the evening as well? To be honest, you can. But realistically, as this system is so well set up to machine learn and understand and drive things when it needs to as well, the machine will spend when it has the better demand as well. So you don't really need to worry about, I need to have run my campaigns from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. because that's when people jump on the most. If you just set it to all day, the machine will spend where it has a better demand to drive a better result as well. So that, in a nutshell, is bidding and budget for TikTok. You want to always run from a daily budget or use CBO at a campaign level if you're working with multiple ad groups. You want to use lowest cost bidding to always ensure that you get the lowest result as well. And then always run all day targeting. You never want to jump in and change that or have to worry about it as well. Let the machine do the lifting for you. So this then brings us into the next segment around the learning phase. Now, this is only important on certain campaign objectives as well, like conversion or lead generations as well. Now, learning phase is essentially a phase of where your results will be all over the place as the machine is trying to find the perfect system for you and the perfect users to purchase as well. Now, the learning phase, once you've passed it, we understand that the system is now stabilized and understands the right targeting and audience to go after for this campaign as well. So during the learning phase, your CPA or your cost per lead or your cost per action will essentially go like this. It will continue to move up and down as well as it tries to find that perfect audience and user to target as well. Now, the biggest thing with this is your learning phase should be passed within 7 to 10 days of your campaign setup as well. Now, the hard thing here, and this is everyone in this room, because it's always, it's our business on the line as well, is you don't want to change anything. Because if you jumped in there and changed targeting or changed creative or video or URLs or bidding and budget and stuff as well during the campaigns in flight, essentially you might reset it, furthering and making it harder for you to actually understand if this is the right setup as well. So the learning phase is a very particular thing that will only occur during your lead generation campaigns or your conversion campaigns where the action is driven around a CPA. And with these, you don't want to make any changes. So as soon as those campaigns set up as well, so let's say we're a service business and we're setting up a lead generation campaign. Once that campaign's live, try not to alter anything and watch. If it doesn't pass the learning phase within 7 days, it's then probably not the setup that we need to do as well. And we should then try to alter it. I think there's definitely early signs that let's say you get to day 3 and there's only 4 conversions. Those are definitely signs that you might want to pull back earlier. And I think it's this really really frustrating thing that you kind of look at and find the way that's working best as well. The learning phase is definitely something you should be aware of. And the biggest thing is try to avoid changing anything while you're doing it as well. And just let the machine learn as much as it can before adjusting anything. Cool. How are we all feeling? That's those topics, when it's still 10 a.m. in the morning, there's a lot to go for.
Yeah, we're doing well. We're all good, Ben.
Cool. So the next one to move into is then creative. So we talked about it a lot last week around creatives on TikTok and how they perform and how to create effective ones as well. Well, how does an ad actually work on TikTok? Well, we open the app and essentially the ad will be natively embedded into the For You feed as well. So the main ad you'll run on TikTok is an in-feed ad. These are full screen, they're up to 3 minutes long, and they'll be embedded natively into the TikTok feed. Now, the only way to tell that it is an ad will be the CTA at the bottom. So that will essentially be the button that will pop up and say, hey, click here to complete a lead gen form, submit an answer, jump to our website, and those different things as well. Now, why this is so cool is when you think around your ad placements on different platforms as well, you usually don't have this full attention. You might be placing for a certain box on a screen. You might have a little area there as well. On TikTok, you have the largest canvas imaginable as well. They're on their phone and they're looking at just your brand in that moment as well. And this is really interesting. This is really cool because it gives you so much more to work with as well from screen real estate on the platform as well. So on TikTok, these will be natively embedded and they occur every 5 to 6 TikToks an ad would pop up as well. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer should there not be as much demand on the system as well. They're natively embedded and they'll appear natively within the TikTok feed. But one thing we talked about a lot last week is the link between organic and paid on TikTok. Now, this feature, we call it as Spark Ads. Now, Spark Ads in a simple term is boosting your existing content on TikTok as well. So let's say you have a business account and you're posting content on there, just like you would on different platforms. Now on TikTok, the biggest thing we want to drive here is authenticity and uniqueness to the platform as well. And so every content you create from an organic standpoint can then be used as your ad creatives as well. So on TikTok Ads Manager, you can actually link your business account with your TikTok Ads Manager account. And so when you get to that final stage, you've set up your campaign, you set up your ad group, and you move into your ad creative as well, you can actually jump in there and select your ad creatives from your TikTok as well. Now, why this is so interesting is it delivers something that's really unique to the platform, and that is an experience that feels exactly like they're just watching a TikTok. So when you use the content from your organic account, your business account, what they can do is they can follow you, they can swipe left to jump into your profile, they can make comments, they can make likes, they can do everything like that as well. And all that engagement will go back to your business account in that original video as well. And so it's almost like leaving money on the table when you're not doing this. It's because it drives greater action and growth for your organic account as well. But let's say you just don't have the time for that and you just need to post content and ads on TikTok. We can do that. So on Ads Manager, you can upload your vertical assets to TikTok directly as well. And then it will essentially create a mock profile. So you have your profile image, your business name, but everywhere they click, let's say they want to jump into your profile or do anything, it will take them to your landing page of choice as well. Now, this is an interesting one. It sounds like, well, shouldn't that be then the key focus as it then drives more traffic? It is true, but it doesn't drive the quality. On TikTok, the biggest thing you're trying to do here is showing up really bespoke and unique to this platform as well. And so allow people to jump into your business account, allow them to follow you, allow them to comment and engage as well, because that's the user path they want to take on as well. So when you go against that, it can sometimes feel a little bit abrupt, but when you allow them to jump in and follow those things, it really does help as well. So what is the benefits of this? Well, a few things. Enhances ad performance as well. Now, why is this? Because what you can do on TikTok is use everything you do organically as those ad creatives in your campaigns. So it's almost like testing them before you even spend $1 on them as well. Now, why this is so key is it really tells you, okay, what's working well. This video got really good engagement. That means it could work really well as an ad as well. So where could this sit? Secondly, it allows you to be more efficient with your creative options. We've talked about this a lot as well around how the two are linked on TikTok. But imagine you no longer need to shoot TikTok Ads Manager videos and then organic videos in TikTok. These can just be one. So when you're shooting content for the month or for the week, all this could support each other as well. And then finally, native organic content and paid content. Yeah, they're one. They pretty much are one on TikTok. Everything you do organically can benefit you from your ads campaign setup as well. Cool. So that's kind of a rundown. Now we'll say we could jump into Ads Manager and go through it, but to be honest, there's so much to go through that I would rather talk around the very top level things here today, and then allow you to jump into our YouTube videos, different things that have the more in-depth things. Because personally, that is where you probably will go through, when you're setting up the campaign for the first time, have a video next to you that run through with a help guide to make you set up as well. But I wanted to talk through really the key things. So how would we then set up a full funnel approach? How would you then start your first campaigns on TikTok for the very first time as well? Well, let's call it phase one. And I talked about this just at the start when we talked around objectives. But the phase one is your test and learn phase. This is where you really want to drive traffic and community interaction campaigns on TikTok to see how your creators performing and how you're performing on the platform. So traffic is pretty self-explanatory. It's essentially driving people who would explore your website or your service to your website or to your app. The second one is community interaction. Community interaction is a new campaign, but it's very unique. It essentially allows you to target people to follow you or visit your business account on TikTok as well. So if you're a new business at TikTok, you could run a community interaction campaign targeted to Kiwi business, targeted to Kiwi users who are interested in, let's say, your beauty product, and they could then. The main focus of that campaign is to drive new followers for your business account as well. It's almost like a jump start for you. The second phase will be boost. So this is where you then want to move into a bit more unique approach. So you would continue with your community interaction, as this is a really great campaign objective to drive continuous action to your business account. But then for your traffic campaign, you want to continue that. Or if you're feeling comfortable, and when I mean feeling comfortable, you can start to see that your results and your campaign objectives and your creatives are getting a good response. Your CTR is performing well. You're getting good impressions and good engagement of that as well. And you're feeling comfortable in your creative to scale up from there as well. So you could either stick with traffic and continue up, or you can move to conversions. Now I want to talk a little bit here around businesses that are selling a certain product as an example. We can jump into different businesses in a second as well. But let's say we're selling t-shirts. Now, the big thing we talked about is not jumping to the very end of the funnel immediately. You need to really warm up and get used to the platform and let it test and let it learn as well. So for a conversion campaign, ideally there's 3 steps. And those are what you essentially optimize towards. So the end goal is, of course, to run a campaign that optimizes towards complete payment. So purchase of a product as well. The hardest thing is, that's the hardest goal. You need to start earlier to really understand and ramp up from there as well. And so what you'd want to optimize first in a conversion campaign is a view content. And what this means, it's a really easier objective, but essentially you're trying to set up a campaign that will drive people to view a product on your website. Now, traffic is a traffic campaign, so it's just trying to get traffic there. But a conversion campaign with the optimization of view content is trying to drive people to take that specific action, to go deeper in terms of it as well. So this would be the first one you'd optimize towards in a conversion campaign. Phase 3 is continuing that momentum. Now, this is where you can do a few things. You ideally want to keep traffic going because traffic also allows you to build a retargeting option and a campaign off the back of it as well. But for your conversion campaign, you then want to switch over to an add to cart one as well. Now, an add to cart is, again, when you look at the levels of what's the hardest goal is a campaign that drives complete payment. You have add to cart as a secondary, then you have view content as the easiest as well. So an add to cart is a slightly harder objective as well. You're trying to drive people to take that specific action as well, that people who are likely to add to cart on your campaign. So this would be it. And you'd want to essentially see here with all your conversion campaigns, how do I know when I'm ready to move up? Has my view content hit 50 conversions and past the learning phase? Has my add to cart hit 15 conversions past the learning phase? These will essentially be your guiding lights for as you move up your campaigns as well. Now, the final one and the biggest one here as well is evoke action or drive it, or phase 4 as well. This is where you'd want to optimize towards full payment and essentially continuing to drive traffic for this as well. But you want to ideally be able to drive conversion campaigns for this as well. Now, I'll be honest, driving and ramping up, it takes a while. The reason for this is it's a new platform. And just like you would back in the day when you gain used to the older ones as well, it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in a week. It takes time. You really, now you look at those platforms and you understand them well. That same thing applies to TikTok. And so use this ramp up to really move in comfortably to TikTok. Start with test and learn, move into be a bit more comfortable as well, and then start to move through those conversion levels as you start to see that learning phase passing for each of them, because that gives you the best indicator that we're in the right path to scaling up our campaigns to finally be able to drive full funnel and full purchase of our product as well. Cool. So this kind of brings us to the end, but what do we really want to take away from this as well? Well, the biggest thing is everything you do organically and everything you do paid are linked on TikTok. So really the best way to unlock this platform is to do both as well. Now, I'm not saying this to just drive adoption of both, but really it does have an impact on this platform. I've seen businesses who have done just paid and they haven't been able to unlock the platform as well as businesses that do organic and link both together as well. Because everything you do benefits each other as well. You might drive sales purely through organic, then you might double down that effort through paid that are more targeted as well. This is really how we use this platform to its best advantage as well, is when everything you do is linked together on TikTok. So what are the final checkoffs as well? Well, one, start with a business account, set up your foundations really strongly on this platform, and then start posting and considering what this ramps up from as well. Two, test, learn, fail, and repeat. It's a new platform and you're going to find your groove on this as well. These platforms, no matter not just TikTok, but all platforms are an investment of your time as a business as well. It does yield results, but those results take time and take investment to really unlock and start seeing the potential as well. Now, accelerate everything you're doing with paid solutions as well. Organic and paid are linked on TikTok, and this will really help you speed up your campaigns. More importantly, from that creative standpoint, as you can really test what's working. Fourth, when you start those campaigns, start with upper funnel objectives first. Really test and learn to find your groove. And finally, have fun of it. You've seen so many examples of TikTok as well. This is a platform where businesses can really be themselves. Show that kind of fun side. Don't worry too much about being too perfect around your creative or your content. Show behind the scenes. Show how the business was created on TikTok. And really have fun with it. That's why this platform is here. It's here to entertain. For businesses, you don't have to be left out. You can jump into this absolutely on here as well. So guys, that brings us to the end. The recording for the last session is available, and this one will be available as well. We also have a full guide within Digital Boost to help you get started. But I will stop there and jump into any questions and such that we do have.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ben. So concise. I'll tell you what. I'm looking forward to seeing what some of our Digital Boost users come up with and what kind of movement they have in their business due to this platform. It is such a powerful platform with its organic reach versus a lot of other platforms. And so, we've been really going on this TikTok train since I guess the tail end of last year. We started to pump a bit of content, but working directly with you guys to make sure that we've got the real accuracy of conveying the right message on how to use it. As we know, our demographic here on Digital Boost is a little bit different than some other platforms, and I know that there's a little bit of apprehension from some of our users to jump on TikTok because they find it a little bit daunting. But I think what I loved that you showed last week was just such a variety in the types of content that you can create and how easy it can be. And I'm really hoping that you guys go ahead and have a look at the session that we did run last week. Have a look at some of that bite-sized content that we have on platform as well. And we believe we ran a workshop, not with you, but with our team on TikTok. And so if you want that content as well, let us know and we can get that for you. I'm just going to jump from platform to platform. I wish we were streaming on TikTok. I mean, is that a possibility here to do these days or?
Yeah. I think we'd have to change the format slightly, but absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we're housed on Zoom, which is, that's just been our mojo since the beginning, but we are reviewing lots of things, and it'd be cool to have some of these sessions actually go through. So is that kind of content for folks who do like to have longer content? Is that something that you would recommend on the TikTok platform or not really?
Yeah, I think the shift we're seeing right now on TikTok is, I feel like everyone knows the platform. TikTok's a short platform, YouTube's the long form. But really, TikTok now, you can do 10 minutes. You can do 10-minute videos on TikTok, which is something I don't think a lot of people have done particularly. There was this really funny one they did in the States where they got a bunch of celebrities to see how long can you watch this TikTok for. And it's exactly 10 minutes long. Had like Paris Hilton, had everyone, they're like, keep watching to the end. But it's that interesting one where I think for you have your different content forms. You'd have your bite size to drive, interest, and then you'd have a longer form if you wanted to do that. So if it's a DIY hack, if it's, let me tell you the full service as well, you'd never lead with that. You have it there on your account to be able to drive people to with.
Because I did notice, what I've really noticed is, a lot of us were going to YouTube and stuff like that to learn how to do something, 5-way, how do I set this up? How do I do that? But when I talk to some of the folks in my office that are of a younger generation, they don't use like YouTube. They'll go straight to TikTok and look for that information. So that's a really good tip for anybody who does teach things, or, you're explaining a hack of how to do something. Maybe you're a service-based business and you have some quick tips for people. That's a great bit of content right there that you can shoot out with 5 quick tips on how to, organize your house, or, how to release tension, how to get your breath going more steadily, how to decrease your anxiety. All of those kind of things could be like really short form videos for a service-based business. Because I know that one of the comments that we had last week was, hey, we've looked at a lot of products. What would you recommend for a service-based business? And there's lots of stuff you can do in that space. So, have a look at what some other accounts are doing that are quite popular. Would you recommend that as well, Ben? Or
Yeah, TikTok search is that kind of new wave, and there actually is ad placements that are in beta right now that will come in the future to drive, just like Google ads and such, drive actually search ads. Because search for or especially for, like you said, the young generation, if I'm trying to find, let's say, a recipe for tacos or something, I'll jump on because I'll know the recipe within 30 seconds compared to search, where jump on a web page, maybe there's a few different things, and then finally you have to like go through the recipe. Probably takes longer, where I could see a video or see an answer immediately on TikTok.
Now, we talked last week, we had a bit of a workshop with Glenn from Spike, and we were talking about email marketing and using ChatGPT in order to create content and get some ideas, because often it's the ideas part that's daunting. You guys looked at that at all, as far as using ChatGPT to generate some ideas for TikTok?
Yeah, we're doing a few things now with it. I think the most interesting with ideas, and like you said it earlier, is actually understand what people are doing. I think a lot of the time people think that it's trends you need to always do, which absolutely you can. But jump in on Creative Center, there's like full guides around, okay, if you're a service-based business, what ideas do you need to drive? Like how do you create a content for that as well? And I think there's all these different areas of like, learn what competitors are doing. How do you explain your product? How do you do it in a fun way as well? All these little things are like little nuggets that you can kind of jump into as well. One thing I will say, this is just based on the platform, is when you think around a TikTok account, people don't really want to keep scrolling to the end. Like, there's a good chance that content you posted 3 months ago, if it performed well, could actually be reposted because it might meet a newer audience this time around as well. Content isn't a one-time off anymore. It can be a continuous thing that you could use to untap and drive better action as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, we see that even on Digital Boost. Things change so quickly that, we get new people coming and joining Digital Boost every week, every day. And a lot of the content that we did possibly like a year ago on one of these Q&A sessions, although we've got the content on our website, it's nice to refresh that content, and for the new folks that are just joining us and just getting that fresh viewpoint, and maybe it's tweaked just slightly. Is that a possibility, to have a piece of content and then possibly, instead of just reposting, you can rework it?
Yeah, I think all the time. I think if I would change from a business standpoint, but let's say someone has like a story time or something as well, like let me tell you about my history or things. People normally create a new edit of that every 6 months to a year, and just kind of like, yep, here's the updated version of it, and people still click on it and drive action as well. So absolutely, everything can be reused, reworked. And I think that's the interesting thing, is like, there's only so many ideas. What do? Go back to what you've done in the past and see how that could be redone.
And how do you feel? I mean, a lot of people are a bit nervous about putting their face on there or putting their voice on there. Perhaps they're not as comfortable speaking in English. Maybe they're like a bilingual speaker and they're not as comfortable. What do you think about using the voiceover kind of feature on TikTok versus using your own voice?
I think it's one of those things where you think of TikTok as it sounds daunting, but really it should be the easiest platform to jump into because it's all those things. It's like the chat features and the text to speech. It's almost like a second language. Like people on TikTok are so used to it. I've seen businesses that are exactly that same case that like I'm just not comfortable. It's like that's okay. Use green screen, use text to speech. People will still resonate with the brand. It doesn't always have to be someone facing into it as well. There's so many ways to work around that before you get comfortable, or if you just stick with that routine. People are so used to those things that it's like second nature on TikTok.
Now, what do you think about the speed of the clip? So say you're creating something for an advertisement. What's your recommendations around the length if you were compiling a whole bunch of images or, it wasn't just a straight video? What's your recommendations on that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think on TikTok, just like on on organic as well, it really varies. I think the biggest thing we talked about this quite a bit last week is let's say you have a 30-second video of clips as well. It's those little things that drive it to be a better content. So what's the hook? But then how often does the frame change? If you had one just constant video going for 30 seconds, it's really just, on the speed of TikTok, people wouldn't find that as engaging as something that's driving between multiple different scenes as well. So I'd say it's a really hard one to pinpoint as well. I think there's also correlation between drive into certain action. So let's say you're driving, let's say it's Black Friday, it's sales period. People know exactly what they're in for. So you can make content that's really short, really punchy, and driving that specific point home as well. But for other content, it's really around how you edit it. You could have a 40-second video that has multiple frame changes, multiple different things that drive and keep people engaged. And that could outperform a 15-second one. So I think it's really, I'd say a minute is probably pushing it. But if let's say 40 seconds is probably a really good place as the maximum to drive it, but it's all around how you edit it and how quickly those things change to keep people engaged.
Now, we talk a lot on here about accessibility, and I believe we talked about captions and stuff like that. If people don't have as much dexterity in their fingers, is there like a recommendation for using the platform for somebody who might not have as much ability to kind of get in there and pinpoint everything?
Yeah, I think the big one, there's two now. So we have a tool called CapCut. So CapCut is owned by TikTok. Essentially, it's another one that you can get on app and desktop
I've
as
heard
well.
about this one. It's really good, actually.
Yeah, it's a really good tool. It's also good not just for TikTok, but other platforms, which is great as well. But the other one on this is using our voice. A lot of the voice control features from iOS and stuff work directly into TikTok. So you can use those different ones as well, or not edit the content on those platforms like CapCut on desktop. We have a bit more screen real estate and zoomed in, and then simply post it from on desktop from TikTok as well, as you can fully access the TikTok desktop on your website and such as well.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that's something that probably a lot of people don't know, is that you don't have to have it just on your phone, right? You could do it from computer. So if you're a person who needs a larger screen, or you need to use a mouse in order to do stuff, that CapCut, and let me just grab that link because I just want to make sure that everybody has it. You can use this to edit, right? And you can download it for a PC. I've got it right here. And I know a lot of organizations that use it, actually, because I'm always interested to hear what people are using. So I'm going to drop that across all the other platforms where you guys are sitting as well. And like use a different platform, edit your videos, and then pop it up onto TikTok.
Okay. Yeah, CapCut's awesome. It's definitely like the go-to now as well with it. And also, works better on, allows you to edit content for all different platforms.
Yeah. And then you can stream it out to your other platforms. Like, you don't have to just be specific, but I think it's a really good idea to test what you're doing on one platform, see what's working with your business, and then test it on another platform. Did that work for that platform? You know, what were the numbers? Make sure you're looking at your numbers, like you said. Test, what did you say? Test, learn, fail, or something, repeat, or something. It was like, learn, you know, like give some things a try, put yourself out there. Don't be afraid. Everybody starts. I think Stanley Henry was on here a little bit ago, and he had said, you know, just remember that everybody starts at zero. You know, everybody starts at zero. So
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about coming on there and being a noob on the platform. What do you think about, you know, a lot of times with these platforms, there's this wave, and if you don't catch the wave, you know, when you get to a certain point, you're like, oh, I'm never going to make it on this platform because everybody's already really established. Do you think that takes that's in play here, or?
Yeah, I've definitely heard that before. You know, like let's look back. Vine, that didn't last too long. It was here for a bit, but it was Vine as a platform where it was so you had to be in that moment as well. I think the way TikTok's designed, we talked about this so much last week, is how it's structured. That there's because it's no longer linear. You know, X followers doesn't mean X reach anymore, and it's all good on content. The doors are almost always open. You know, you could start today with 0 followers and put out a cracking bit of content, and that could perform really well. And you can continue that momentum. And so I think it's a thing of, I don't know if you could ever miss the boat as well. I think the biggest thing I would say though, and this isn't just applicable to TikTok, but the shift that TikTok has had on the different platforms is the biggest thing to miss would probably be the new way of content. You know, everything's now shifted to vertical, engaging, video based instead of like image based as well. That's the real big shift we're seeing here, is that rub off effect that it's had on all different platforms, from Reels, the Facebook,
Right.
Reels, the YouTube Reels, to Instagram. So everything's changed to that vertical thing. And I'd say that's the biggest thing for businesses. That is now the shift. And TikTok's just one piece of that.
Oh, you guys like changed the world of the way that people, you know, I mean, it was really like Instagram and Facebook just went, panic. We need something that's comparable to this because, you know, people are leaving. So, you know, then all the reels came out, and then they had to shift their algorithm so that you could get more reach on reels because they still had the algorithm where you weren't getting any organic reach. And so they've like started to open that up a little bit. But it's still, you know, it still has its base in the way that they have built their platform, you know. Yeah, that's super interesting. And I had one more kind of final comment that I was going to make, and then we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say to everyone that, you know, when we talk about digital and when we move into a digital space, oftentimes we go, oh, I don't really, you know, we get a bit worried. But what I think is important to remember is that every time we learn something new, when we learn how to use something new, we're just increasing that plasticity in our brain. It's really good for our brain to learn a new thing. And so even if you're just getting on there and having a play with it at first, you're still increasing your ability to pick up other things as well in your life, not just in your business, in your life. And that's going to improve the quality of your life. So, you know, sit down with a 13-year-old if you need to, get them to show you how to get on there and do it. Talk to our support team. We'll help you to get on. The team at TikTok has heaps of content on there to educate you as well. And yeah, like have a go. Just have a go. That's all I'm going to say to finish it up.
Yeah. Love that.
Sonia. Yeah. What would you want to close us out, Ben? And then we'll kick
Yeah.
out.
I'd say that, just second that as well. You know, the shift we're seeing now is on video. And I think for businesses, you don't have to be front and center. Use every tool that's out there as well to help that shift, because everything you'll do from this will not just benefit this one platform, even though it's a great opportunity and potential there. But this shift will benefit everything you do across all your platforms and how you're seen as a business. So jump on there, get creative, you know, just test, learn, fail, repeat. It's an investment and it takes time, but it will pay off as you start to do it more and more.
Yeah. Fail forward, you know? Absolutely. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Thursday, we're diving into shareholder and look, we're going finance on Thursday for our workshop. Ben with Sam from SH Advisory. He puts the fun in finance, and it's going to be a great workshop. So anybody who's wanting to learn about shareholders and how all that works with taxes, please turn up or just get some basic advice because he's epic. And Ben, you're a legend. Thanks so much. Thanks for getting up early this morning and tuning in from Aussie. We appreciate you.
No worries at all. Thanks.